been 1 year since police started using tasers. Have they been a success and have they made us safer? That's what I want to ask. Nook, what do you reckon?
I believe they have, yes.
Yeah, what
Absolutely.
about you, Chris?
Yeah, look, I think it's been about 118 times I'm told that they've been let off, so better that than 118 times a gun.
All right, what about you, Tracy?
I agree with Chris, 100%. I think they've made us safer. Yeah.
Round the okay, Gareth, do you agree with your
Yeah,
panellists?
probably. And look, they've been a good step to mean our cops aren't carrying firearms on them as they do overseas in, say, the States. And I hope we can protect that pretty unique and special part of being a New Zealander.
All right. It's interesting, isn't it? Because it was such a controversial issue here, but your thoughts at Backbenchers TV, have they been a success? It's 1 year since tasers were introduced. Hayley.
Yes, I'm here with someone who really would know, Greg O'Connor, the president of the Police Association. Do you think the introduction of tasers has been a success?
Kia ora, Hayley. Yes, it has. It probably hasn't made much difference to, say, most of the people here, but for those that we're policing after 3 o'clock in the morning, those who've got issues, whether it be violence issues, that yes, they're safer. The people we're policing are safer, the people who are doing the policing are safer, and the victims are safer. So yes, it's been a success.
Can I ask you this? Have you ever felt the might of a taser yourself?
I have, and it hurts. And even someone deep in the depths of methamphetamine rage will still be dissuaded from what they're doing by a good shot of a taser.
So this is what I was going to ask next. Are they enough? Do we need to start introducing guns to our police?
Look, at the moment, as one of the panellists said, the taser, plus the fact we've got firearms much more available than we did have in the past, our people are pragmatists. They know there's no political will for New Zealanders to arm, particularly when they see what's happening overseas. While we've got the access we do, and tasers, and a preparedness to use them. I think New Zealanders have got used to it. Ironically, the campaign against the taser, did a very big favour for New Zealanders because everyone thought they were much more dangerous than they really are. The reality of it is that there's less chance of getting hurt by a taser than there is by a police dog, by a baton, or by a firearm.
Maybe we shouldn't be telling too many people this, but going back to the access of guns, I mean, what does that mean? Where are the guns and how do the police access them?
Look, in 2009 we got 9 police officers shot and we had firearms back in the police stations then. Police didn't change any policies as a result. There was a lot of push among frontline police officers. 70% of them, when asked by a survey by Nielsen, said arm us. As a result, that was our policy. Now, with the Norwegian model, as we call it, where the firearms are available in the vehicle, things are a lot better. I think, unfortunately, it will take an incident of the sort we're seeing overseas, probably a terrorist incident where people will die unnecessarily because police officers don't have instant access. That will be the next time we debate it, and people like the panellists over there will be very quick to stand up and say, time we did it. But at the moment, I think we've got a situation, until that happens, our members, our police officers are happy with the situation.
So you're happy with the situation? You don't think, personally, that the police should have guns?
Look, I think at the moment, we survey, so Nielsen survey, 70% of frontline police officers are saying yes.
What if we turn into America?
Well, we're not America, are we? And it's quite interesting. Last week, we're unfortunate to have to use lethal force on, and don't forget what taser is, the least than lethal option. Last week, we were unfortunate to have to use lethal force twice on 2 people from very different walks of life. One was, couldn't have been more different walks of life. The one common denominator, of course, was methamphetamine. So what's important? So often after these things, we concentrate on what the police did, but we actually have to step back and have a look at the environment. And one thing that's changed in New Zealand is methamphetamine. And if it's making us more like the United States, unfortunately, our offenders are starting to behave more like American offenders. And that is what will govern the actions of police more than anything else.
Pull it back, people. Pull it back. Back to you, Wallace.
Hey, thank you, Hayley. Let's pick up on that point, the methamphetamine, because that has been noted as that people are getting a bit more violent, perhaps, and full-on. Methamphetamine is soaking in the veins of the country now like perhaps never before. What do you reckon about that, Nook? Will that change the game?
Look, I actually think that routine arming of police is not an option here in New Zealand. Sure, there's methamphetamine, there's a number of other things as well, but I still think that we should stay with the proven tactical option which is lasers.
Any appetite
Tasers.
for it politically? I mean, what happens if what has happened in Australia or in London or particularly in Paris in the last year and a half with these so-named terrorist outbreaks, Chris, will that change the name of the game when it comes to how our police deal with these sorts of things?
Look, I think Greg's right. If that happens, and we don't want it to happen, that debate will start up. But I think at the moment we're not at the situation where we have to have routine arming of police. I think he's right. The prevalence of methamphetamine in every community is increasing. You've got that $500 million haul up in Northland, so people are going to take and arm themselves if it's $500 million
Tracy,
of business.
what about you?
Okay, so I'm very, very aware. I'm not a frontline police officer, male or female. So that's the first thing. So I'm a politician and I sit up there in that ivory tower. But escalation leads to escalation. That's my concern. I want the police to have access to the tools and to be resourced appropriately to the tools they need to keep us safe. That's what I want. But I do not want us to become a culture that escalates, that they get guns and somebody else gets a gun and a bigger gun and a bigger gun, and we get this sort of, testosterone off around these
And yet you've got a country, Gareth, which is awash with guns, many of them are unregistered. Does that pose a problem at all to the police?
Yeah, well, look, I think it's kind of ironic that we do have per capita a higher gun ownership than many other countries, and we're lucky and we're fortunate to have good policemen and women out there working hard enough. I want to make sure they're safe. They've got the tools that they need, but I agree with Tracy. Overseas, it's led to an arms race with the criminals, and I absolutely reject the assertion from the NRA, the only way to stop a bad guy is with a gun. It's just not true.
When you see what's...
Can I just make the point that there is an inquiry going on at the moment related to illegal possession of firearms in New Zealand. Yeah. And the terms of reference there is basically the first one is to look at how widespread it is, and particularly around criminals and gangs. The second one pretty much is how do they come into possession of those illegal firearms? And the third one is how do we actually address the issues that we're going to find within this inquiry?
All right, hey.